Hello, my dear students. I hope you all are doing great. My name is Biswajit. I'm your botany mentor. Today, we will be discussing two important chapters: cell, the unit of life, and cell cycle and cell division for your KVPY exam. So, our goal is to cover these two chapters, and in this class, we will discuss some of the important questions. And while discussing the questions, I will also discuss relevant important concepts. So, please watch this lecture very, very carefully. So, the first question is, which of the following organelles contain circular DNA? Which type of DNA? Circular DNA. Okay. So mitochondria and chloroplast, yes, both of them, they have circular DNA. Lysosome, it does not have any circular DNA. Peroxisome, it does not have any DNA. And Golgi complex, they do not have any DNA. So the answer will be A. The answer will be A. So when we talk about an eukaryotic cell, the DNA is present in different organelles. What are those? Very good. Nucleus, mitochondria and plastid. And many students, they have a misconception that only the chloroplast among the three plastids, that is among chloroplast, leucoplast and chromoplast, only the chloroplast has DNA. No, that is incorrect. All the three types of plastids, they have DNA. Okay, so let me write some of the important points about those DNA. Okay, so I can write over here that the DNA is present in nucleus, and the DNA which is present in nucleus, that will be called as what? Nuclear DNA. So I'm having nuclear DNA. The DNA will be called as nuclear DNA. When? If the DNA is present in the nucleus. And we also have DNA outside the nucleus, and those DNA which are present outside the nucleus, they are called as extranuclear DNA. They are called as extranuclear DNA. And those extranuclear DNA, they are present in which organelle? They are present in the mitochondria and the plastid. They are present in mitochondria and plastids. All the three types of plastids. All three types of plastids, they have DNA. They have DNA. Okay. So what about the nature of these DNA molecules? Okay. So let me tell you one by one. First is the nuclear DNA. The nuclear DNA, it is always linear in nature. This is linear. The DNA is linear in nature. So what about the DNA present in the mitochondria and the plastid? So the DNA which is present in the mitochondria or the plastid, that is the extranuclear DNA or organelle DNA, they are circular in nature. They are circular in nature. And to pack the DNA, we require some proteins. And if the proteins are histone, then those DNA are said to be simply DNA. But if the DNA is not associated with any histone protein, then those DNA molecules are said to be naked DNA. So in case of nuclear DNA, the DNA is associated with histone. They are associated with histone. Whereas in case of extranuclear DNA, the DNA is not associated with histone. So I can write over here, they are not associated with histone. Okay, and whenever the DNA is not associated with histone, then I will call those DNA as naked DNA. Therefore, the DNA is naked. The DNA is naked. Okay, and the DNA has basically four different types of what? Four different types of nucleotides, having the nitrogenous bases like adenine, guanine, cytosine and thymine. Okay, and when we talk about the nuclear DNA, the nuclear DNA has relatively more amount of adenine and thymine as compared to guanine and cytosine. So I will say that this DNA is AT rich. This DNA is AT rich, whereas the DNA which is present in the mitochondria and the plastid, they have G and C in more amount as compared to A and T. So I will say that the DNA is GC rich. The DNA is GC rich. Okay, so these are some of the differences. The organellar DNAs or the extranuclear DNA, they are circular, whereas the nuclear DNA is linear. Okay, and this nuclear DNA is associated with histone. And such DNA are not given any special name, and the DNA, if it is not associated with histone, we will call them as naked DNA, and the nuclear DNA is AT rich, whereas the extranuclear DNA is GC rich. Okay, and if we talk about the size of the DNA, then we can say that the extranuclear DNA are relatively smaller in size, and the nuclear DNA, they are relatively smaller in relatively larger in size. Okay, and they have relatively more number of genes, and the extranuclear DNA, they have small number of genes. Okay, so this is all about this is some of the basic informations about the different organelles. Okay, now the next question is, during meiosis there is 2 rounds of DNA replication and 1 division, 2 rounds of DNA replication and 1 division, 1 round of DNA replication and 2 divisions, 2 rounds of DNA replication and 2 divisions. So before discussing the answer, we must know something about the meiosis. See, whether the cell division is meiosis or mitosis, before division, the cell has to prepare itself, and for preparing itself, the cell undergoes interphase, and the interphase consists of G1S and G2 phases. Okay, so basically, so I can write them that the cell will first undergo what? It will undergo G1 phase. After G1 phase, it will be S phase, and after the S phase, it will be G2 phase. Okay, and after these phases, I will have meiosis first. Okay, so in meiosis first, it will be karyokinesis first and then cytokinesis first. So let me write over here. So karyokinesis first will consist of prophase first. After prophase first, I will have metaphase first, and after metaphase first, I will have anaphase first, and after anaphase first, I will have telophase first, and after telophase first, I will have cytokinesis first. Okay, and these four phases, they are collectively called as karyokinesis first. And these phases, that means karyokinesis first and cytokinesis first, they are collectively called as meiosis first. After cytokinesis first, there will be a phase which is called as interkinesis. Okay, and this after interkinesis, there will be meiosis second, and this meiosis second will consist of prophase second, then metaphase second, and after metaphase second, there will be anaphase second, and after anaphase second, there will be telophase second, and after telophase second, there will be cytokinesis second. And in this case, these four phases, that means prophase first, second to telophase second, they are said to be karyokinesis second, and these phases, that means karyokinesis second and cytokinesis second, they are collectively called as what? Meiosis second. So in this case, you can see that I am having 2 divisions. In meiosis first, I am having 1 division, and in meiosis second, I am having another type of division. Okay, so I can say, and in this case, in karyokinesis first, there is 1 nuclear division, and in karyokinesis second, there is another nuclear division. Now, if we talk about this S phase, in this S phase, there will be DNA replication. Not only DNA replication, there will also be centrosome or centriole duplication. Okay, what about the interkinesis? In interkinesis, there will be centriole duplication. But there will be no DNA replication. So in case of one meiosis, this is entire meiosis. Okay, so in case of one meiosis, there is 1 nuclear division, second nuclear division. That means there are 2 different types of nuclear division, karyokinesis first and karyokinesis second. 2 different types of division, nuclear division, and 2 cytoplasmic division, cytokinesis first and cytokinesis second. That means we have 2 rounds of division. But how many rounds of DNA replication? Only 1 round of DNA replication. So I can say in meiosis, there is 1 round of DNA replication followed by 2 rounds of nuclear division, or 2 rounds of division. So I can say that from here, I can say that in meiosis, in meiosis, one round of DNA replication is followed by two rounds of nuclear division, okay. And remember one thing, in anaphase first and anaphase second, there will be separation. So in case of anaphase first, who are going to get separated? Homologous chromosomes. I will say in this case there will be separation of homologous chromosomes. And in fact, in case of anaphase second, there will be separation, and the separation will be of sister chromatids. So you can say that in one meiosis there is only one round of DNA replication, which is followed by two rounds of separation. One separation in anaphase first and another separation in anaphase second. In anaphase first, who are going to get separated? Homologous chromosomes, whereas in anaphase second, the sister chromatids are getting separated. So I can write over here that one round of DNA replication is followed by two rounds of separation. In one case it is homologous chromosome, and in another case it is the sister chromatids. Okay, so here the answer will be, we can now answer the question, two rounds of DNA replication. No, only one round of DNA replication takes place. So the answer, this option is incorrect. One round of DNA replication and one round of division. No, this is two rounds of division. One round of DNA replication and two divisions. This is the answer. Two rounds of DNA replication. This is incorrect. So the answer will be C. Okay. Now, the following structure is not found in the plant cells. So we have to find out the structure which is not present in the plant cells. Okay. So the plant cells, they have the vacuole. They have endoplasmic reticulum. They also have nucleus, but they do not have centriole. So the answer will be what? The answer will be centriole. Okay. So here, if it is talking about plant cells, so we have to consider higher plant cells. Which cells? Cells of higher plants. Why higher plants? Let me tell you one thing. So in lower plants like algae, bryophytes and pteridophytes, even in some of the members of gymnosperms, we have flagella or cilia. And the cilia and the flagella, they develop from the basal granule, and the basal granule is basically modified centriole. They are modified centriole. So without centriole, we cannot have any cilia nor any flagella. So in order to have cilia or flagella, we must have the centriole. So in case of algae, most of the algae, or we can say many algae, all the bryophytes, all the pteridophytes, and some of the members of the gymnosperms, because they have cilia or flagella, that is why they have to have the centriole. Okay, but in higher plants like most of the gymnosperms and all the angiosperms, they do not have any cilia nor flagella. That is why they lack any centriole. Okay, so here I will say that the centriole is absent in plant cells of which plant? Higher plants. Which plant? Higher plants. So please note down one point that many algae and all bryophytes, all pteridophytes, and some gymnosperms. Some of the members of gymnosperms, they have either cilia or flagella, and both these structures, they develop from the basal granule, and because this basal granule is basically modified centriole. This is modified centriole. So I can say, that is why I can say that many algae, all the bryophytes, all the pteridophytes, and some of the members of gymnosperms, they have centriole. Okay, but I can say here one more thing. I can say here that many gymnosperms and all angiosperms. All angiosperms, they do not have, they have, they do not have any centriole. They do not have any centriole. So centriole is absent. Centriole is absent. Or you can say in higher plants, a centriole is absent. Okay. Now, mammalion's liver cell with swell when kept in. Actually, this is will swell. This is will swell. Okay, typing error. Sorry. Will swell when kept in. So when a cell swells when the water enters into the cell. Okay, so suppose this is the cell. Suppose this is the cell, mammalian liver cell, and you have kept this cell in a solution. You have kept this cell in a solution, and when this cell will have some solutes, and if it has solids, that means it will have some osmotic pressure, and the solution will also have some osmotic pressure. And we know that the movement of water is always from low osmotic pressure area to high osmotic pressure area. The movement of water is always from low osmotic pressure area to high osmotic pressure area. Okay, so the size of the cell increases, or the cell will swell only when there is pressure from the protoplasm against the plasma membrane. Then only the cell will swell. Okay, so when this pressure will be exerted, if the water enters, okay, and in this entering of the water across the plasma membrane into the cell, that is known as end osmosis. And when this end osmosis will take place, if the osmotic pressure outside the cell is of the outside the cell, that means of the solution is less, and the osmotic pressure of the cell is more, then the water will enter into the cell. Okay, and such solution which have low osmotic concentration as compared to the cell sap, that is known as hypotonic solution. Okay, so the answer will be hypotonic solution. Okay, now enzyme X extracted from the digestive system hydrolyzes peptide bond. So this enzyme is, what is the function of the enzyme? To break down the peptide bond. And any enzyme which breaks the peptide bond, those enzymes are said to be proteolytic enzymes. Those enzymes are said to be proteolytic enzymes. Okay, so which of the following are probable candidate belonging to enzyme X? Maltase is digest the maltose, and maltose is a carbohydrate, so this will not be the answer. Lipase, it digests the lipid, so this is not the answer. Amylase, it digests the starch, so this is not the answer. Trypsin, it digests the protein, and when it digests the protein, that means it breaks down the peptide bond, so the answer will be trypsin. Which of the following pairs are both polysaccharides? Cellulose is a polysaccharide, glycogen is also a polysaccharide, so the answer is A. Starch is a polysaccharide, but glucose is a monosaccharide. Cellulose is a polysaccharide, fructose is a monosaccharide, ribose is a monosaccharide, sucrose is a disaccharide, so the answer will be A. So let me write over here. Glucose is monosaccharide, fructose is also a monosaccharide, okay, ribose is a monosaccharide, and sucrose is a disaccharide. You must have learned about this ribose in this structure of RNA, ribonucleotide. In ribonucleotide we have a sugar, that sugar is ribose sugar. Okay, now meiosis first and meiosis second are characterized by the separation of. See, in meiosis first there is anaphase first, and in meiosis second there is anaphase second. So in anaphase first, so this is meiosis first. In anaphase first, there is separation of what? There is separation of homologous chromosome. So I will say there is separation of what? Homologous chromosome. This is very, very important. That means chromosome 1 and 1, they will get separated. Chromosome 2 and 2, they will get separated. Chromosome 5 and 5, they will get separated. Okay. And in meiosis second, we have anaphase second. Okay. And in this anaphase second, In this anaphase second, there will be separation of sister chromatids. There will be separation of sister chromatids. Okay. Now, what about the mitosis? So in mitosis, we have anaphase. We have anaphase, and in anaphase, there is separation of sister chromatids. There is separation of sister chromatids. Okay, so I can say meiosis first and meiosis second. Okay, homologous chromosomes and sister chromatids, this is the answer. Centromere and telomere, no, this is not the answer. And telomere and centromere, this is not the answer. Sister chromatids and homologous chromosomes, this is just the opposite. So the answer will be A. The answer will be A. Proteins are synthesized on. And one more thing, when the homologous chromosomes get separated, in this case there will be no splitting of the centromere. Okay, but when the two sister chromatids get separated, in that case the centromere gets splits. Okay, so I can say in anaphase first, the centromere is intact, whereas in anaphase second and in anaphase the centromere splits into two. So I can write one more point over here that centromere is intact, that means it does not split, whereas in meiosis second and in anaphase, that means in anaphase second and anaphase, the centromere divides. The centromere divides. This is another important part. Okay, now proteins are synthesized on. We all know that the protein factory is basically ribosome. So the ribosome synthesizes protein by a process called as translation. Okay, so I will say that the ribosome is the answer. Ribosome will be the answer. So to synthesize the protein, which RNA is required? Your answer is incorrect. I knew that your answer will be mRNA. No, only mRNA is not required. All the three types of RNA, they are required. How? Let me explain you one by one. So we are having one RNA which is called as messenger RNA, and the messenger RNA has the informations to code the proteins in the form of codons, and the codons are basically triplet in nature. Okay, so it has the information in the form of sequence of the nucleotides in the form of codons. Okay, and these codons are recognized or translated by the ribosome to form the polypeptide. Okay, and this polypeptide can be called as a protein or it cannot be, and in some cases they won't be called as a protein. So the polypeptide has to have a minimum size to be called as a protein. Okay, so I can write over here that from mRNA polypeptide is synthesized, and in some cases I can write that in case of polypeptide I can write that protein. Okay, and who is going to synthesize this protein? It is the ribosome. So the process in which ribosome synthesizes protein from the informations present in the mRNA, that is known as translation. The process is known as translation. Okay, so we all know that the polypeptide is basically a polymeric compound. This is a polymer of what? Amino acids. That means to synthesize the protein we need to have amino acids. Okay, and these amino acids are transferred on the ribosome with the help of RNA. And which type of RNA? It is the tRNA. That means transfer RNA. So I will say that transfer RNA, which is conjugated with what? Amino acid, that will bring the amino acid to the ribosome. Okay, so here we have discussed two types of RNA. What are those? One is mRNA, which is required for protein synthesis, and second is transfer RNA. And apart from this tRNA and mRNA, we also require ribosomal RNA. Why? Because ribosome is required for protein synthesis, and ribosome is a part of what? So ribosome consists of rRNA. That means I can say that all the three types of RNA, mRNA, tRNA and rRNA, all are required for protein synthesis. All are required for protein synthesis. Okay. So this is, so the answer will be ribosome. And because ribosome synthesizes protein, that is why the ribosome is also known as protein factory. This is also known as protein factory, and this is the smallest organelle. This is the smallest organelle, and despite the nature, irrespective of the nature of the cell, that means whether the cell is prokaryotic or eukaryotic, every cell has ribosome. Every cell has ribosome. This is the smallest organelle. And because every cell has ribosome, every living cell has ribosome, that is why this ribosome is also known as universal organelle. This is also known as universal organelle. Next question. Which one of the following organelles can synthesize some of its own protein? See, to synthesize protein, what do we require? We require ribosome. Okay, we also require mRNA. We require tRNA. And we know that the mRNA will get synthesized from the DNA. It will be synthesized from the DNA, and the DNA will be double stranded. That means to have the proteins, we need ribosome, we need tRNA, we need rRNA, we need mRNA, and we also need DNA. That means we need to synthesize protein. So I can write over here that to synthesize proteins, for protein synthesis, the requirement of cell is to have DNA. It should have DNA. Okay, it should also have ribosome, and it should also have the RNA. All the three types of RNA, messenger RNA, ribosomal RNA, and tRNA, all the three types of RNA should be present. And if they are present, then only the cell will synthesize protein. Okay. So which of the following organelles can synthesize some of its own proteins? See, lysosome, does it have any DNA or RNA? No. So that is why it will not synthesize any protein. What about mitochondrion? Yes, mitochondrion has DNA. It has DNA. It also has 70s ribosome. It has ribosome, and apart from ribosome and DNA, it also has the RNA. Three types of RNA are also present over here. So that is why the answer will be B. Vacuole, it does not have any of the above, so it will not synthesize any protein. Golgi body, it will also not synthesize any protein. But this mitochondria, because it has DNA, ribosome, and all the three types of RNA, messenger RNA, ribosomal RNA, and tRNA, that is why this mitochondria will synthesize some of its protein. It is saying that some of the proteins. Why some of the proteins? Because most of the proteins present in the mitochondria, even in the plastid, they are synthesized, or they are encoded by the nuclear gene. They are encoded by the nuclear gene. So I will write over here one important point, that whether it is mitochondria or plastid, it does not matter. Mitochondria or proteins, most of them, they're mostly encoded by nuclear gene. They're mostly encoded by nuclear gene. Whereas some proteins, some mitochondrial and plastid proteins, they are encoded by organellar genes. That means mitochondrial genes or plastidial genes. Okay, so you might be wondering about this. So let me clarify this one by one. So suppose you are having a cell, and suppose this is a cell, this board is a cell, and this cell has nucleus. So suppose this is one nucleus. Okay, and this nucleus will have This nucleus will have two membranes. It will have two membranes. It will have two membranes. Okay. So suppose these are the two membranes, and this membrane will have a number of pores. It will have a number of pores. So let me draw these pores. So this is nuclear pore. This is nuclear pore. So these are nuclear pores, and these nuclear pores are formed by the fusion of the two membranes. And in the nucleus, inside this nucleus, there will be DNA. There will be DNA. Okay, so we are having DNA molecules, right? And from this DNA, the mRNA will be synthesized. mRNA will be synthesized, and in fact, the mRNA will not be directly synthesized. It will be called as pre-mRNA, and this pre-mRNA is also known as hnRNA, heterogeneous nuclear RNA. Okay, this is pre-mRNA or primary mRNA. And after this mRNA is formed, this mRNA, pre-mRNA is formed, this will undergo post-transcriptional modification. And after post-transcriptional modification, it will synthesize mRNA, messenger RNA, mature messenger RNA. And this mature messenger RNA, it will leave this nucleus through the nuclear pore, and it will enter into the cytoplasm. And in the cytoplasm, there will be ribosome. There will be ribosome. And this ribosome, which is present in the cytoplasm, this part is cytoplasm. This part is basically cytoplasm. Okay, so this mRNA will undergo translation to form the protein. And suppose the protein is P1. Suppose the protein is P1. Okay, now suppose I have an organelle which is mitochondrion. And this mitochondrion also has DNA, its own DNA. So suppose this is the mitochondrial DNA. Okay, so I can write over here, this is DNA, mitochondrial DNA. Which DNA? Mitochondrial DNA. And this mitochondrial DNA will also undergo transcription to produce the mRNA. And suppose from this mRNA, protein is synthesized. And suppose the protein is P2. Suppose this protein is P2. Okay, and this protein P1 has its function inside the mitochondria. So that is why it will enter into the mitochondria. So I will have P1 and P2, both of them in the mitochondria. So in this case, both P1 and P2, because they are present in the mitochondria and they perform their function in the mitochondria, that is why I will call them as mitochondrial protein. And see, the segment of the DNA which is responsible for formation of protein, they are said to be gene. So I can say that this segment of DNA which is ultimately responsible for forming this protein P1, to form this protein P1, that is called as nuclear gene. So suppose this is nuclear gene. What is it? This is nuclear gene. Okay, and this DNA which is responsible for forming this protein, that is called as mitochondrial gene. And because P1 and P2, both of them, they perform their function in the mitochondria, so they are mitochondrial protein. Okay, and because this protein P2 is derived from this mRNA, and because this mRNA is derived from the mitochondrial gene, that is why I will say that this protein P2 is encoded by mitochondrial gene. But what about this protein P1? This protein P1 is derived from this mRNA, and this mRNA has come from this nucleus, and this mRNA comes from this gene, and this gene is basically nuclear gene. So I will say that this protein P1 is encoded by this nuclear gene. And in whether it is mitochondria or the plastid, most of their proteins, they are encoded by the nuclear gene, and some of their proteins are encoded by their own gene. Okay, now which of the following organelles contains circular DNA? We have already discussed this question, right? Circular DNA is present in which organelles? They are mitochondria and plastids. That means chloroplast, chromoplast, and leucoplast. And all these three are collectively called as plastids. plastids. Okay, so peroxisome, it does not have any DNA. Mitochondria, chloroplast, yes, the answer is B. Golgi complex, it does not have. Lysosome, it does not have. So the answer will be B. Okay, and this question has come in the KVPY exam. Now, which one of the following combination of biomolecules present in the ribosome? See, when we talk about the chemical composition of ribosome, what chemical composition of ribosome? The ribosome is basically composed of two compounds. What are those? One is protein and second is RNA. And because this RNA is present in the ribosome, that is why the RNA is said to be ribosomal RNA. Which RNA? Ribosomal RNA. So I will write over here that the ribosome is chemically made of RNA, and this RNA is rRNA, different types of rRNA plus proteins. Okay, and because this ribosome consists of rRNA and protein, that is why this ribosome is also called as ribonucleoprotein complex. What do you call them? You call them as ribonucleoprotein complex. Okay, so the DNA is absent, DNA is not present, right? And lipids are not present, DNA is not present. Okay, DNA is not present, RNA and proteins are present. So I will say that the answer will be C. The answer will be C. Right? Now, glycoproteins are formed in which of the following organelles? That means in which organelle glycoprotein is formed. So the first question arises, what is glycoprotein? Glycoprotein is basically a protein which is conjugated with carbohydrate. So I will say that in this case, the protein is conjugated with carbohydrate, and this carbohydrate is basically sugar. And among these two components which are present in the glycoprotein, that is the carbohydrate and the protein, which one is the major component? It is the protein. Protein is the major component, and the minor component is the carbohydrate. You have another more or less similar term, and that is proteoglycan. In this case also we have two components. What are those? One is protein and second is carbohydrate. And in this case, the carbohydrate is the major component. Okay, so carbohydrate is the major component. See, glycoproteins are formed in which of the organelle? It is the Golgi complex. So in case of eukaryotic cells, we have two different organelles in which glycoproteins are synthesized. What are those? One is RER, rough endoplasmic reticulum, and second is the Golgi complex. So I will say, and this addition of the carbohydrate, that is the sugar, to the protein, that is known as glycosylation. What do you call that? Glycosylation. So let me tell you that we have glycoproteins. What do we have? We have glycoproteins, and these glycoproteins are basically formed due to the addition of the carbohydrates, or I can say sugars, to the proteins, and the process by which the sugars or the carbohydrate are bound to the or get added to the proteins, that process is known as glycosylation. And this glycosylation is of two types. What are those? One is N-glycosylation, and second is O-glycosylation. Okay, so where do we have N-glycosylation? See, if the glycosidic bond is formed and it has it involves nitrogen, that will be called as N-glycosylation. And if the glycosidic bond which is formed during glycosylation has oxygen, then that will be called as O-glycosylation. See, in glycosylation, glycosidic bond is formed. In glycosylation, which bond is formed? Glycosidic bond is formed. Glycosidic bond is formed. Bond formation takes place. And if the glycosidic bond involves nitrogen, N-glycosylation, it involves oxygen, that will be known as O-glycosylation. So this N-glycosylation takes place in the rough endoplasmic reticulum, whereas O-glycosylation takes place in the Golgi complex or Golgi body. That means the formation of the glycoprotein takes place in both RER and the Golgi body. RER and the Golgi body. So the answer will be Golgi complex, because here RER is not given. Right? Next question. Lecithin is a, what is lecithin? Yes, very good. Lecithin is a phospholipid. What is this? This is a phospholipid. This is a phospholipid, and this phospholipid is a component of the plasma membrane. So I will say that this is a phospholipid. This is a phospholipid, and this phospholipid is the component of what? Plasma membrane. Component of plasma membrane. Okay. Now, a cell weighing 1 milligram grows double to its initial mass before dividing into two daughter cells of equal mass. That means the daughter cells are of equal masses. Assuming no death at the end of 100 divisions. How many divisions? 100 divisions. What will be the ratio of the mass of the entire population of these cells to that of the mass of the earth? Assuming that the mass of the earth is 10 to the power 24 and 2 to the power 10 is approximately 1000. So let us solve this question. We know that after n number of generations, the number of cells will be 2 to the power n. All of us know this very well, right? So how many generations? 100 generations. So after 100 generations, the number of cells will be 2 to the power 100, right? And if it is 2 to the power 100, that means I can say that it will be 2 to the power 10 to the power 10, right? So, and we know that as per this question, 2 to the power 10 is approximately 1000. It is approximately 1000, right? So I can say 1000 means 10 to the power 3, right? And 10, that means it will be 10 to the power 30. It will be 10 to the power 30. And this will be in terms of milligram. This will be in terms of milligram. So I will say after 100 generations, the mass of the entire population will be 10 to the power 30 milligram. So if I want to convert this in terms of in the units of kg, then I can write that 10 to the power 30 milligram. That means 10 to the power 30 into 10 to the power minus 6 kg. It will be minus 6 kg, right? Because 1 milligram is 10 to the power minus 3 gram, and 1 kg will be 10 to the power minus 6. 1 milligram will be 10 to the power minus 6 kg, right? So it will be 10 to the power minus 24 kg. What? The mass of the entire population. Mass of the entire population will be 10 to the power minus, sorry, not minus, it will be 24, right? Very sorry, it will be 24. 10 to the power 24 kg, right? And what about the mass of the earth? Mass of the earth is 10 to the power minus 10 to the power 24 kg. So what will be the ratio? The ratio will be 10 to the power 24 kg and 10 to the power 24 kg. So it will be 1. It will be 1. So the answer will be 1, right? Now, next is, just a minute, let me drink some water. Now, the diagram shows structure of centromere. What does the X represent? See, what is this? This part is a chromatid and this part is also a chromatid, right? And these chromatids are held at the point of centromere. Where? At the centromere. So I can say that this part is basically centromere. This is centromere. So I can say this is centromere. This is centromere. Okay. This part is chromatid. This part is chromatid. Okay. These two chromatids are called as sister chromatids. What are those? Sister chromatids. Okay. So the answer will be centromere. And this centromere, what about the centromere? The points to remember about the centromere is the centromere is present in all the chromosomes. All the chromosomes. Okay. And its position varies from chromosome to chromosome. And this is also known as primary construction. This is also known as primary constriction. Yes, of course, you are right. You are right. Some of the chromosomes, they do not have centromere, and they are said to be acentric chromosome. They are said to be acentric chromosome. Yes, you are right. Otherwise, most of the chromosomes, I should have said, most of the chromosomes, they do not have what? They do not have the centromere, right? And this primary constriction, is the site where the two sister chromatids are attached. So I will say that they are site where two sister chromatids are held together. Okay. And every chromosome has only one centromere. Every chromosome. So I will say that every chromosome has only one centromere. Okay. Now, which of the following organelles is located near the nucleus and contains collection of flattened membrane bound cisternae? So obviously the answer will be Golgi complex. It will be Golgi complex, right? Why? Because the position of the Golgi body is always fixed, and this is present close to the nucleus. And this Golgi body consists of a number of flattened sacs. Okay, and these sacs are flat, but they are slightly curved. Okay, so this is one sac. This is one sac, right? This is another sac. So we will have a number of sacs here, and these sacs are called as cisterna. They are said to be cisterna, and this entire collection of cisterna, they are said to be Golgi apparatus. So let me label them. So what are these? These are cisterna. Okay, all of these are cisternae, right? And this collection of cisterna are called as Golgi complex, and it has two phases. This phase, which is present towards the endoplasmic reticulum, that is said to be cis phase, whereas the phase which is present away from the endoplasmic reticulum, and this endoplasmic reticulum is present near the nucleus. Right? So the face of the Golgi complex, which is close to the ER or the nucleus, they are said to be cis phase, and the opposite phase is said to be trans phase. Okay, and this phase is also called as forming phase, and this phase is called as maturing phase. This phase is basically convex phase, and this phase is basically concave phase. From this phase, the Golgi body receives particles to be packaged, and from this phase, after packaging, the particles are released. Okay. Now, the inner membrane of mitochondria is usually highly convoluted, forming a series of infoldings, and they are called as what? They are called as cristae. See, if this is, suppose this is mitochondrion, and this mitochondrion has two membranes. This is the outer membrane, and suppose this is the inner membrane, and this inner membrane has a number of foldings like this. These are the foldings, and these foldings are called as crista. This is crista. The singular is crista, plural is cristae. So what is the function of this crista? The crista increases the surface area of the membrane. It increases the surface of the area of the membrane, and this crista contains F0F1 particle. Okay, so its function is to increase surface area of inner mitochondrial membrane. Okay, and it contains ETS, it contains F0F1 particle. Okay, now besides giving out secretory vesicles, the Golgi apparatus also connected with the formation of what? Plastids. No, plastid has no relation with the Golgi complex. Grana of the chloroplast, no, they do not have any relationships. Cell plate after cell division, no. Golgi body is responsible for forming the cell plate, but the cell plate is formed before the cell division. It should be before. So this option is incorrect. This is also incorrect. So what about lysosome? See, if this is one cisterna, Suppose this is one cisterna, this is another cisterna, and these are a number of cisterna over here. Okay, and this phase is called as what? Trans phase or maturing phase, and this phase is known as cis phase, right? And from this cis phase, a number of proteins, hydrolytic proteins or enzymes, they will be packed, and after packing they will be released. What are these? These are the hydrolytic enzymes, and this is a membrane bound structure, and this membrane bound structure, which has a number of hydrolytic enzymes, this is called as primary lysosome. So one of the functions of the Golgi body is to produce the lysosome, and this lysosome, which is newly formed, which has enzymes, hydrolytic enzymes, which are basically inactive hydrolytic enzymes, that is said to be lysosomes. So that is why our answer will be lysosome. Right? Next, active and passive transports across the membrane differ in. Passive transport is non-selective? No. Passive transport can be non-selective or can be selective. Okay, why? Because passive transport consists of two transports. What are those? One is simple diffusion and second is facilitated diffusion. And this simple diffusion is non-selective. Which one? Simple diffusion. Whereas this facilitated diffusion is selective. This is selective. Why? Because facilitated diffusion is mediated by proteins, carrier proteins and channel proteins, and whenever a transport is mediated by proteins, then the transport will be selective. Okay, but in passive transport, that is simple diffusion, in simple diffusion the transport is mediated by lipids, and when the lipid mediated performs any transport, that is non-selective. Passive transport is along the concentration gradient, whereas active transport is due to metabolic energy. Yes, of course. Why? Because in active transport, the transport is against the gradient. That means from low concentration area to high concentration area. And if the transport is against the gradient, it will require metabolic energy. So this is correct. So the answer will be B. Let us see other options. Active transport is more rapid. This is also correct. Okay, both options are correct, but we will give more preference to this one. Okay, passive transport, but this question is actually incorrect. Why? Because both of the answers are correct, right? Why? Because if I say the rate of transport, then I will say that in active transport the rate of transport is more than the passive transport. So I can say that active transport is more rapid and passive transport is slow process. So this is also correct. Okay, but we will take this one because in question the selectors have chosen this option. Otherwise, actually in real actually both of these options are correct. Passive transport is confined to anions, while active transport is confined to cations. This is completely irrelevant. Both passive and active, they perform transport of both cation and anion. Okay, so the answer is B in this case. Now, Balbini rings or puffs are the site of. See, we have polytene chromosomes. What do we have? We have polytene chromosomes. So suppose this is one polytene chromosome. Suppose this is a polytene chromosome. Okay, and a particular time, suppose at time t1, the genes which are present in this area, they are required. Okay, just a minute. Suppose, let us say time t, at time t1, the proteins which are encoded by the genes which are present in this area, they are required. I repeat, at different times different proteins are required by a cell. Suppose at time t or t1, the proteins which are encoded by the genes which are present in this area, they are required. So how the proteins will be synthesized from the genes present in this area? They will first undergo transcription, then translation, then they will produce the proteins. But the genes which are present in this area, they are highly packed. They are highly packed because the DNA is highly packed. Okay, and because the DNA is highly packed, that is why there will be no transcription. And in order to perform the transcription, the DNA has to be loosed. So in this case, what will happen? In this case, what will happen? The DNA which is present in this area, they will undergo slight unpacking. So uncoiling, I will say uncoiling. So the DNA which was present in this area, they underwent uncoiling. Okay, and the DNA now they can perform the transcription, and after transcription they will produce a number of RNA molecules. So these are RNA molecules. What are these? These are RNA molecules. And suppose these RNA are mRNA, and if these are RNA, and if these are RNA molecules, and suppose these are mRNA molecules, so these mRNA molecules will ultimately form the proteins. And these structures are called as Balbini puff. They are called as Balbini puff or Balbini ring. Okay, so I will say that at the Balbini puff, what are synthesized? mRNA is synthesized, and from the mRNA, proteins will be synthesized. So I will say Balbini puff are the sites of RNA and protein synthesis. And remember one thing, the Balbini puff or ring are temporary in nature. Why? Because after time T1, if the requirement of the proteins encoded by the genes present in this area are not required, if not required, in that case what will happen? Again, the genes or the DNA which are present in this area, they will undergo coiling. And after coiling, what will happen? After coiling, this is going to happen. Okay, so at time T1, the genes the Balbini puff is present in this area. Suppose this is area A1, and after at time T2, the area or the area A1 is present in this way. That means the Balbini puff is present only in time T1, not in time T2. And suppose at time T2, the genes which are present in this area, they have to form some proteins. Why? Because in time T2, some proteins are required by the cell which are synthesized by the genes present in this area. Suppose A2. In this area A2, so what will happen? The area A2 will undergo uncoiling. And after uncoiling, it will produce Balbini puff. Or Balbini ring. So this is Balbini puff or Balbini ring. Okay, and it will produce a number of RNA molecules. And after producing a number of RNA molecules, the RNA will produce the what? The RNA molecules will produce the proteins. So you can see at time T2, the area A1 does not show Balbini puff, whereas at time T1, the area A1 shows Balbini puff, right? But in time T1, the area A2 does not show any Balbini ring, whereas in time T2, the area A2 shows Balbini puff. That means the Balbini ring are temporary in nature. Okay, and when they are formed, if they are formed, the Balbini puff are formed if the proteins encoded by those genes are required by a cell at a particular time, then only the Balbini puff will be formed. Okay, so this was about the answer will be RNA and protein synthesis, right? Next, in plant cells, peroxisomes are associated with. See, in mesophyll cells, suppose we have different types of plants. We have C3 plants. So in C3 plants, there is a process which is called as photorespiration. And this photorespiration is performed by collective activity of three organelles. What are those organelles? One is chloroplast, and after chloroplast, the organelle involved is the peroxisome, and after peroxisome, the organelle involved is the mitochondria. And all these three organelles, they collectively perform the what? Photorespiration. So the answer will be photorespiration. Okay. Now, now, so membranous bag with hydrolytic enzymes which are used to controlling the intracellular digestion of the macromolecules. See, we have one organelle which has the hydrolytic enzymes, and what is what is that organelle? Very good, that is the lysosome. What is that organelle? Lysosome. So the answer will be lysosome, right? Next, Golgi apparatus is absent in. See, Golgi apparatus is what? It is a membrane bound organelle. This is a membrane bound organelle, and membrane bound organelles, they are present in. What about their occurrence? So if I talk about cells, so suppose I am having eukaryotic cell and prokaryotic cell. So when you talk about the eukaryotic cell, so in eukaryotic cells they have the membrane bound organelles, that means they will have the Golgi body. But in case of prokaryotic cells, because this Golgi body is membrane bound, that is why they will be absent. No membrane bound organelle is present in the prokaryotic cell. And when we talk about the bacteria or blue green algae, they are prokaryotic, and because they are prokaryotic, that is why they will not have any Golgi body. But yeast is a fungus, and because fungus is the eukaryote, so it will have Golgi body. Higher plants, they are eukaryotic in nature, so they will have the Golgi body. So the answer will be C. Next, cell recognition and adhesion occur due to the biochemicals present on the membrane named as. See, on the non-cytosolic surface of the membrane, the lipids and the proteins, they are associated or conjugated with the carbohydrates. And when the lipid gets conjugated with the carbohydrate or sugars, that will form the glycolipid. And if the proteins gets conjugated with the carbohydrate or sugars, they will form the glycoproteins. And these glycoproteins and glycolipids, they are involved in the cell to cell recognition. Okay, so the answer will be glycoproteins and the glycolipids. And where do we find these structures? We find these structures or the chemicals on the non-cytosolic surface of the membrane. Non-cytosolic surface of the plasma membrane. Okay, now in salivary gland, chromosomes or polytene chromosomes pairing is absent. See, in polytene chromosomes, what do you mean by polytene chromosomes? See, there is a term which is called as polytene. What is polytene? In normal case, one chromosome will have either one DNA, one double strand DNA, or two double strand DNA. That means maximum number of DNA molecules in a chromosome is 2. But there are some cases in which more than 2 DNA molecules will be present in the same chromosome, and that condition in which more than 2 DNA molecules are present in the same chromosome, and in the same chromosome, then that condition is known as polytene, and the chromosome which shows polytenic condition is known as polytene chromosome. Okay, and such chromosomes are found in the cells of the salivary gland of some insects like Drosophila, right? And these chromosomes, polytene chromosomes, they show somatic pairing. And in this case, the homologous polytene chromosomes, they will show somatic pairing, not the non-homologous chromosomes. So the answer will be homologous chromosomes. And because the pairing of the polytene chromosome does not take place in the zygoting phase, and that is why they are said to be somatic pairing. If the pairing had taken place, in the zygote, then I would have called them as synapses. But because they are not taking place in the zygote, that is why I will not call them as synapses. I will simply call them as somatic pairing. Next, all types of plastids possess essentially same structure because they perform same function. No, chloroplast, its function is to perform photosynthesis. Chromoplast to attract, to impart colors to different colors to the plant parts, and leucoplast is to store the food. So same function. It is incorrect, right? Different function. It should have be different functions. Store food materials like starch. No, only the leucoplast stores the food. So this is also incorrect. right? Yes, no doubt, chloroplast, its function is to store food, but in temporary form, temporarily, right? Occur in aerial plant? No. Why? Because the leucoplast is also present in the subaerial part, underground part. Can transform from one form to other? Yes, this is the answer. Why? Because suppose you have leucoplast. You have leucoplast. So this leucoplast can get converted into chloroplast, and this chloroplast can get converted into the chromoplast, right? So you can see over here that one form is getting converted into another form is getting converted into another form. So I can say that because this why this conversion can take place, because all these plastids, they have similar structures. That is why this conversion is possible. This conversion is possible. Okay. Now, which one is apparatus reticulare? It is the Golgi apparatus. This is a Golgi apparatus, right? Next, outer covering of membrane is absent in outer covering membrane is absent. That means it is talking about non-membrane bound organelle. It is talking about non-membrane bound organelle. Nucleolus, it does not have any membrane, so the answer will be nucleolus. Lysosome, it has single membrane. Mitochondria, it has two membranes. Plastid has two membranes, so the answer will be nucleolus. Why? Because nucleolus is non-membrane bound. This is non-membrane bound. Nucleus is membrane bound. Nucleolus is non-membrane bound. Next, all plastids have similar structure. This question we have already discussed. Next, oxysome F0 F1 particles occur in thylakoids. No, they are not present in thylakoids. Why? Because see, if I talk about F0 F1 particle, so F0 F1 particle is present in the mitochondria, and where in mitochondria? Inner mitochondrial membrane. And if I talk about CF0 F1 particle, this is present in the thylakoid membrane. This is present in the thylakoid membrane. And this F0 F1 particle, which is present in the inner mitochondrial membrane, that is responsible for performing oxidative phosphorylation. Whereas this CF0 F1 particle is responsible for forming ATP by the process called photophosphorylation. Okay, so the answer is C. Why not thylakoid? Because here it is written F0 F1. This is F0 F1. Okay. Now, ribosomes are the center of. Ribosome is the center where the proteins are synthesized. That is why we call ribosome as protein factory. Next, which is distributed more widely in a cell? See, if you look at the answer of this question at different sites, you will find different answers, different case. So let me tell you the exact answer. See, the answer is RNA. Why not chloroplast? Let me tell you one thing. Because within the chloroplast we have RNA. So the more specific answer will be what? RNA, right? Why? Because see, if you talk about a cell, if you talk about a plant cell, suppose this is a plant cell and suppose this is the nucleus. So suppose this is nucleus. Okay, and inside this nucleus, so if this is nucleus, here we will have RNA. I'm not saying only RNA, it will also have DNA. In the nucleus we have RNA. In the cytoplasm RNA will be there. Okay, and suppose this is mitochondrion. Suppose this is mitochondrion. Here also I will have RNA. And suppose this is chloroplast. Suppose this is chloroplast, and here also I will have RNA molecules. What is this? This is chloroplast and this is mitochondrion, right? So you can see that because within the chloroplast RNA is present. That is why I will say that among chloroplast and RNA molecule, which one is more widely distributed? It will be RNA. If the question is asked which organelle is which organelle is most widely distributed, then the answer will be chloroplast. But here organelle is not mentioned. Organelle is not mentioned, so the answer will be B, RNA. Next, cell wall shows. Cell wall shows complete permeability, semi-permeability, differentially permeability, impermeability. No. When such question is asked, you have to think about cellulosic cell wall. You have to think about cellulosic cell wall. And this cellulosic cell wall is permeable. Why it is completely permeable? Because it allows passage of solutes, different types of solids as well as solvents. So the answer will be completely permeable. Completely permeable. Okay. Impermeable. Which one is impermeable? Suberized cell wall. Suberized cell wall is impermeable. Differentially permeability. This is shown by the what? Plasma membrane. Semi-permeable membrane means this is the membrane which allows the passage of the solvent, not the solute. Okay. Now, ribosomes were discovered by, this is a simple question, Palade. That is why this ribosome is also known as Palade particle. Next, fluid mosaic model of the cell membrane was put forward by Singer and Nicholson. See, at different times, different scientists had proposed different theories or models to explain the structural organization of the plasma membrane. Okay. So among these, the most recent and the most advanced or accepted model is the fluid mosaic model, and this was given by the Singer and Nicholson. Okay. The latest model for plasma membrane is fluid mosaic model. This is fluid mosaic model, right? Polyribosomes are aggregates of. See, this polyribosome is the feature of prokaryotes. This is found in prokaryotes, right? So what is polyribosome? So suppose this is an mRNA. This is an mRNA. Okay, and now this mRNA will have two ends. This is 5' end and this is 3' end. This is 3' end. Okay. Now this mRNA will be associated with a number of ribosomes. It will be associated with a number of ribosomes. So suppose this is one ribosome which has just bound to this mRNA. This is another ribosome. This is another ribosome which is bound earlier to this ribosome. Okay, and this is another ribosome. So you can see, and this was the ribosome. See, at time t1, only one ribosome, this ribosome had bound at this area, and as time passed, this ribosome shifted towards the 3' end. Okay, and once this ribosome shifted towards this end, let me draw this diagram, another diagram, so that you can understand it well. Suppose this is mRNA. Suppose this is mRNA and this is 3' and this is 5' end. And suppose this is the first ribosome. This is the first ribosome which got bound at the 5' end. And as time goes, this ribosome will move from 5' end to 3' end. And when the ribosome moves, it will synthesize the protein. So after some time, the diagram will appear like this. This diagram will appear like this. Okay, so now this ribosome has moved to this area, to this point, and this ribosome will synthesize some amount of protein. This is polypeptide chain. Okay, now another ribosome will get bound over here. So this is another ribosome, another ribosome. Okay, and after certain time, the diagram will look like this. Okay. Now this ribosome will reach at this point. This ribosome will reach at this point. Okay, and this ribosome, this is the new ribosome which has bound. Okay, so this ribosome will synthesize a long polypeptide. This will synthesize a shorter polypeptide like this. Okay, and see, and after some time, you will see a condition like this. This is 3' end. This is 5' end. Okay, and this is the most recently bound ribosome, and these are other ribosomes which had bound to the mRNA earlier. Okay, this was this was the ribosome which had bound to the mRNA for the first time, and this is the protein or polypeptide. This is the polypeptide This is the polypeptide and this is the polypeptide, right? And this complex which has a single mRNA, and this mRNA is associated with a number of ribosomes. This complex is known as polyribosome. So this polyribosome consists of what? Several ribosomes held together by a string of mRNA. So the answer will be D. Plasma membrane is made of. Why the plasma membrane is made? Okay, sorry, the plasma membrane is made of what? Proteins, lipids and carbohydrates. So the answer will be C. And what about the proteins? The proteins are basically classified into two groups. What are those? One is integral protein, which are also known as intrinsic protein. Okay, and second is the peripheral protein, and these peripheral proteins are also known as what? External proteins or extrinsic proteins. And these lipids in the plasma membrane, they are classified into many different groups. What are those? These lipids are of various types. What are those? One is phospholipid, and second is the glycolipid, and third is sterol. Okay, and among these three types of lipid, the most common one is the phospholipid, and the most common phospholipid is the glycerophospholipid, which is also known as phosphoglyceride. Okay, next. According to fluid mosaic model, plasma membrane is composed of what? Plasma membrane is composed of phospholipid and integral proteins. Yes, integral protein is present, but external proteins are also present. So the answer will be phospholipid, extrinsic proteins and intrinsic proteins. So the answer will be C. Okay, now DNA synthesis. Okay, identify the correct statement with regard to G1 phase. Just a minute. Okay, identify the correct statement with regard to G1 phase. DNA synthesis or DNA replication takes place? No. In G1 phase, there is no DNA synthesis. Reorganization of most of these components of reorganization of all the cell components of the components takes place? No. This happens in the mitotic phase. The reorganization of most of the or all the components of the cell takes place in the M phase, and here the question is asked about the G1 phase. Cell is metabolically active, grows but does not replicate DNA. This is true. Nuclear division takes place? No, nuclear division takes place in the M phase. Not the G1 phase. So the answer is C. Next. Some dividing cells exit cell cycle and enter vegetative inactive stage. This stage is quiescent stage. This process occurs at the end of which phase? See, if I draw a diagram of cell cycle, suppose this is a cell cycle. Okay, and in this cell cycle we have different phases. So suppose this is G1 phase, this is S phase, this is G2 phase, and this is M phase. So these are the different phases. So suppose this is one cell which had entered the cell cycle. Okay, so the cell cycle is taking place, and after completion of cell cycle, two daughter cells will be formed. So suppose this is one daughter cell and this is another daughter cell. So these are daughter cells, and what is this? This is parent cell. Okay, and what will be the fate of the daughter cells? It will depend on the conditions available to the daughter cells. So suppose the daughter cells are not provided with the mitogen or the energy. So if these cells are not provided with the mitogen or the ATP or energy, so these cells will exit the cell cycle and they will exit this cell cycle. And they will enter the G0 phase. Okay, so once this cell is formed, once the daughter cells are formed, these daughter cells are now present in the G1 phase. They are present in the G1 phase. So from which phase the cells are getting they exit from the cell cycle from the G1 phase. So the answer will be G1 phase. The answer will be G1 phase. So in the G1 phase, the cell which is present, if they get the ATP or the mitogen, then they can again re-enter into the cell cycle. They may re-enter into the cell cycle. Okay. Now, cells in G0 phase terminate the cell cycle, exit the cell cycle, enter the cell cycle, or suspend the cell cycle. No, they will exit the cell cycle. Why? Because as per the new NCERT book, that is the correct diagram. So suppose this is the cell cycle, and in the cell cycle we have different phases. So this is G1 phase, this is S phase, and this is G2 phase, and this is M phase. This is M phase. Okay, and in this, among these phases, suppose this is the cell, this is the cell which had entered the cell cycle, and these are the daughter cells. And once the daughter cells are formed, they will be present in the G1 phase. They will be present in the G1 phase. So from the G1 phase, the cells will exit the cell cycle and they will enter into the G0. They will enter into the G0. Okay, so if the cell is present in the G0, that means the cells have exited this cell cycle and they have entered the G0 phase. So the answer will be they exit the cell cycle. Next, so when do they exit the cell cycle? When do they exit the cell cycle? One of the conditions is if the mitogens, that means the chemicals which are responsible for inducing the cell division, they are absent, or the energy is absent, that is ATP is absent. Okay, so in that case the cell will exit the cell cycle G1 and enter into the G0. Another case is, in some cases, once a cell is formed, for example muscle cell or nerve cells, they will no longer divide, so they will directly enter into the G0 phase. Or in some cases, so some cells will enter into the G0 phase. Okay, G0 phase. Okay, so this was all about the G0 phase. Now next question, the correct sequence of the phases of cell cycle. See, when we talk about the cell cycle, you have to, so suppose this is cell cycle, and suppose this is G1 phase, this is S phase, this is G2 phase, and this is M phase. So what about the sequence? So for sequence, you have to start with the G1 phase. You have to start with the G1 phase and move clockwise. So this is parent cell, these are the daughter cells. So two things you have to remember about sequence. You have to start with the G1 and you have to move clockwise. Okay, so the sequence will be first G1, then S, then G2, then M. So the answer will be this one. Next, during cell growth, DNA synthesis takes place in. It is very simple. DNA replication or DNA synthesis takes place in the S phase. This takes place in the S phase. A somatic cell that has just completed the S phase of cell cycle. Somatic cells means the cell which is diploid in nature. Somatic cell is always diploid in nature. Okay, and this has just completed the S phase. S phase is completed, and if S phase has completed, that means the DNA replication has already taken place. Okay, so as compared to gamete, gamete is basically haploid in nature. So if we talk about the cell, somatic cell which has just completed the S phase, in that case, what about the number of chromosomes? It will be 2n. What about the it will be 2n. What about the amount of DNA? It will be 4c. What about gamete? The gamete will have n number of chromosomes and c amount of DNA. That means when we compare this gamete and this somatic cell which has just completed the S phase, then I can say that the number of chromosome is just double, here n, here 2n. Amount of DNA is 4 times, here c, here 4c. So I can say that 4 times the number of chromosomes, no. Twice the number of chromosomes and twice the amount of DNA, no. It is not twice. Twice the number of chromosomes and 4 times the amount of DNA. So the answer will be A. Right? Next, during which phases of cell cycle amount of DNA in cell remains 4c? Where the amount of DNA will remain 4c, if initial amount is 2c. In G0 phase, the amount of DNA is 2c. In G1 it is 2c. In G1 it is 2C. In S phase, the amount of DNA, the amount of DNA, it is from 2C to 4C. 2C to 4C. At the beginning of the S phase it is 2C. At the end of S phase it is 4C. Okay. In G2 it is completely 4C. In G2 it is 4C, but in M phase, it is from 2C, sorry, it is from 4C to 2C. It is from 4C to 2C. That means you can see that in M phase the amount of DNA is not constant. It is for at initial stage it is 4C, and at later phase it is 2C. Okay, and this question says that the phase in which the amount of DNA remains 4C. So the answer will be only G2. The answer will be G2, right? Next, S phase. In S phase of cell cycle, amount of DNA doubles in each cell. Yes, this is right. Amount of DNA remains same. No, it will. Amount of DNA becomes double. Chromosome number increase. No, chromosome number remains same. Amount of DNA reduce. No, chromosome amount of DNA gets doubled. So the answer will be B. Next, given below is schematic diagram breakdown. Okay, ठीक. See, this is the cell cycle. This is the cell cycle. In this case, this phase A consists of 4 subphases. What are those? 1, 2, 3, 4. And this will be obviously karyokinesis. So in this diagram, A will be karyokinesis. Okay. So A is karyokinesis. So I can write over here, this is karyokinesis. What about this phase? This is prophase. This is metaphase. And this is anaphase. So B will be, so in this case, B will be anaphase. Okay. So after karyokinesis, this C is taking place. And what is C? C is cytokinesis. So this is C is cytokinesis. What about D? So this will be G1 phase. This will be S phase. This will be G2 phase. So D will be S phase. Okay. So which one of the following is correct indication? C is karyokinesis. No, C is cytokinesis. So this is incorrect. D is synthetic phase, S phase. This is correct. A is cytokinesis. A is karyokinesis. This A is basically karyokinesis. So this is incorrect. B is metaphase. B is anaphase. So this is incorrect. So the answer is B. Next, at what stage of cell cycle are histone proteins are synthesized in eukaryotic cell? See, the histone proteins are meant for packaging of DNA. They are responsible for packing the DNA molecules. Okay, so in S phase, what happens? New DNA molecules are synthesized, and because new DNA molecules are synthesized, so in order to pack those new DNA molecules, we need new histone proteins, and these histone proteins are synthesized in the S phase. So the answer is the S phase. Okay, next, in somatic cell cycle, in G1 phase, the DNA content is double the amount of DNA present in the original cell. Yes, this is correct, because in this is incorrect, because the amount becomes double in the S phase, not in the G1 phase. So this is incorrect. Okay, DNA replication takes place in the S phase. This is correct. Okay, a short interphase followed by long mitotic phase. No, the interphase is long, whereas the mitotic phase is short. So this is incorrect. Okay, G2 phase follows the mitotic phase. No, G2 phase is followed by the mitotic phase. This is correct. G2 phase does not follow the mitotic phase. So this is also incorrect. So the answer is B. Next, in which stage of cell cycle DNA replication takes place? This is very simple question, and this has come in the NEET exam also, and this is S phase. Okay, next, in a somatic cell cycle, DNA synthesis takes place. This is again S phase. This is very simple. Next, best material for for study of the mitosis in lab is anther, root tip, and leaf tip and ovary. See, mitosis, one of the functions of the mitosis, one of the significance of the mitosis is to perform growth. So mitosis is responsible for growth of the plant and animal body. Growth of the plant and animal body. And if we talk about the root tip, this root tip shows growth. Why? Because this root tip has zone of meristem. It has zone of meristem. And because this root tip has, and what is meristem? Meristem is a cell or tissue which has the ability to divide and redivide. And because this root tip has meristem, and because this meristem has the ability to divide and redivide, that is why, and what type of division? Mitosis. What type of division? Mitosis. And that is why the answer will be B. Okay, next. Spindle fibers unite with the structure of the chromosome. What is that? See, if this is a chromosome, suppose this is a chromosome. Suppose this is a chromosome, okay? And this part is the centromere. This part is centromere, okay? And this is one chromatid, this is another chromatid. On the either side of the centromere, there will be disc-shaped structure, and this disc-shaped structure is called as kinetochore. So this is basically kinetochore. These are basically kinetochores. What are these? These are kinetochores. Okay, and this is basically made of proteins, and these kinetochores will be bound with the spindle fiber. So these are the spindle fibers. So I will say the spindle fibers, they are bound at the kinetochore. Next, microtubule is involved in muscle contraction. No, in muscle contraction it is the microfilament which is involved. Membrane architecture, cell division, DNA recognition. In DNA recognition, the microtubule is not associated. In cell division, this is associated. Why? Because in cell division we need spindle fiber, and this spindle fiber is basically made of microtubule. So the answer will be B. Membrane architecture is not associated with what? Microtubule. This is associated with the microfilament. Next, how many mitotic divisions are needed for a single cell to make 128 cells? This is an old question. So the question should have been, how many mitotic generations of mitotic divisions are required? So see, if we talk about the number of mitotic generations, then suppose after n number of mitotic generations, the number of cells produced will be 2 to the power n. Okay, so how many cells you have taken initially? Single cell. How many cells? Single cell. Okay, how many cells you have to obtain? 128 cells. So for 128 cell, this n will be, the value of n will be 7. So I will say this. So here n will be 7. That means after 7 generations, the number of cells produced from a single cell will be 128. Next, during cell division in apical meristem, the nuclear membrane reappears in. See, if we talk about the apical meristem, it consists of somatic cells, and in this apical meristem, which cell division is going to take place? Mitosis is going to take place. And in mitosis, what about nuclear envelope? So this in mitosis nuclear envelope, in one phase they disappear. In one phase the nuclear membrane disappear, and in another phase they reappear. So in which phase the nuclear membrane disappear? It is the prophase. So in prophase the nuclear envelope disappear. Why they have to disappear? Because the disappearance of the nuclear membrane will allow the separation of the chromosomes. Okay, because we have to separate the chromosomes, that is why we have to disappear the nuclear membrane. Okay, and when they will be when they will get reappeared, once the chromosomes have separated and reached the opposite poles, that means once the anaphase has taken place, completed, that means once the when the telophase starts, so in the telophase the nuclear membrane will reappear. So here it is saying that in which phase the nuclear membrane appear. So it is the telophase. It is the telophase. Next, which of the following structure will not be common to mitotic cell in higher plants? Mitotic cell in higher plants. Which plant? Higher plants. So in higher plants, centriole is not present. Which is not present? Centriole is not present. Spindle fiber is present. Cell plate is present. Centromere is present, but centriole is not present. Right? Colchicine is an inhibitor chemical, and this colchicine is basically obtained from Colchicum autumnale. Okay, so this is a mitotic poison. This is a mitotic poison, and this is obtained from Colchicum autumnale. And this Colchicum autumnale is a member of Liliaceae family. Which family? Liliaceae family. So what is this colchicine? This is a mitotic poison. So what is mitotic poison? Any chemical which inhibits cell division. That is mitotic poison. So how does this colchicine inhibit cell division? Because this prevents spindle formation. Because this prevents spindle formation, that is why there will be there will be inhibition of the cell division. So the answer will be prevents the spindle formation. Next, which of the following represents the best stage to view the shape, size, and number of chromosomes? See, when can we visualize or we can observe or count these chromosomes? When they are clearly visible to us. When they will be clearly visible to us? If they are thick in nature. And when the chromosomes will be thickest? If the condensation has taken place completely. And in which phase the chromosome condensation takes place? It is the metaphase. It is the metaphase. I repeat, sorry, I should have said by the metaphase the condensation of chromosome takes place. That is why completes. That is why I will say the answer will be metaphase. Why? Because in by metaphase condensation of chromosome completes, and because the chromosomes are completely condensed, that is why they are thickest and shortest. So it is easy to observe them, to observe the structures, to count them, and to observe the shapes. So the answer will be metaphase. Next, dissolution of the synaptonemal complex occurs in the which phase? Diplotin phase. In which phase? Diplotin phase. Okay. Why synaptonemal complex appears? Because synaptonemal complex pairs the chromosomes, homologous chromosomes, and the process is called as synapsis. Why synapsis has to take place? To allow the further process, that is crossing over. So in order to allow the crossing over, that is in order to allow the exchange of segments of non-sister chromatids between the homologous chromosomes, the chromosomes have to be present together. They have to be held together. Okay, and once the crossing over has taken place, that means once the Pachydian phase is completed, then the chromosomes will get separated. And how will they get separated? If the synaptonemal complex, which is responsible for holding them, that undergoes dissolution. So I will say in which phase? It is the diplotin phase. Okay, next, if you are provided with root tips of onion in your class, and you are asked to count the chromosome number, which stages can you most conveniently look into? So in which phase is the best phase to count the number of chromosomes? It is the metaphase. It is the metaphase. So the answer will be metaphase. Spindle fibers are attached onto the kinetosome of the chromosome. No, it is the kinetochore, not the kinetosome. It is the kinetochore. So the answer will be D. Okay. Last question. Which of the following is not a characteristic feature during mitosis in somatic cell? Mitosis in the somatic cell. Not characteristic feature. Okay, chromosomes movement. Yes, chromosome movement takes place. Synapsis, it does not take place. Synapsis takes place in the meiosis. Where? In meiosis. And meiosis does not take place in the somatic cell. So the answer will be B. Spindle fiber are formed. Yes. Disappearance of nucleolus is yes, it takes place. Chromosomes, they move. Okay, I can write over here that meiosis does not take place in somatic cell. In somatic cell. Okay, so the answer will be B, right? So this was all about the some of the questions. Hope you have enjoyed it. So take care. Thank you.